Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Blu-Roy Movies. I hope you're all doing well. Well, it's Sunday morning again, so it's time for the weekly watches. And this week, got 8 titles for you. I think I had 8 last week. Might have been even 9. So I've upped my game over the last couple of weeks, you lucky lot. So let's get right on with it. I started the week off with My Name Is Nobody. My good friend Larry sent me that. I think I showed it a couple of weeks ago in a pickups video. And Carlos, Eastwood for Life fan, he sent me a voice message about it and extolling the virtues of this film. And he's so positive about it that I just had to give it a watch straight away. If it comes from Carlos, he's a Western aficionado. And he likes it, you know it's going to be good. I'll put Carlos's details down below. I'm sure you all know him, but anything Western, he's right on top of the game. So give him a follow if by any chance you don't. Yeah, My Name Is Nobody. This is directed by Tonino Valeri, I think you pronounce it. But it's produced and written by the great Sergio Leone. And you can see his influence all over it with the way it looks. If you'd have told me it'd been directed by him, I wouldn't have argued with you. It's got a brilliant Ennio Morricone score as well that's quite playful at times, and also riffs on the Ride of the Valkyrie by Wagner, which I really enjoyed the score on it. I thought it was ace. This is all about Terence Hill. He's a young gunslinger just making his way in the world of gunslinging, if you like. And he's always worshipped Henry Fonda, who's at the other end of his career. And I think they do it quite well to get to Henry Fonda's age and still be alive gunslinging. But Fonda's on about retiring, but Terence Hill is encouraging to take out this gang of 150 crooks, bandits and general vagabonds on horses before he retires. That's about the story of it, but it's really entertaining and it's quite funny. It's funny to the extent that it's not quite a spoof movie. It just manages to rein it in, but is very comedic, which I'm probably just in the right mood for it at the time because I really enjoyed it. There's some really good standout funny scenes. There's one scene where they go to this town where there's sort of carnivals in town, and there's this thing that people box that spins round. It's got 2 arms that'll hit you, and Terence Hill's beating up bad guy after bad guy with this thing that spins round, whacking him on the head with it. And you think after the first half a dozen or so, the joke would get a bit old, but it kept going and I kept loving it and loving it. Yeah, really great film, and like I said, one I'd never heard of before, but one that's I'm glad it's in my collection. And thanks, Larry, for sending me that because it's right up there now with my favourite westerns. If you haven't seen My Name Is Nobody, give it a watch because it's quite good. Next up was Sunday night, and we sat down for a family movie night. Myself, my wife, my son Nathan and his girlfriend Katie, and we watched Jaws in 4K. Now, I've seen this time and time again. The wife's seen it a couple of times. I think Katie had seen it before. Nathan had seen it, I think, last time he was about 10, I think. So he didn't really remember much about it. I know he probably shouldn't have been watching this at the age of 10, but he was always quite forward in years. I mean, by the age of 10, he was smoking 10 Benson and Hedges a day. No, that's a joke. Don't hate on me in the comments below. But yeah, so it's like a first time watch really for Nathan, and he loved it, as of course you're going to. You don't need to me to talk ad nauseum about Jaws. We all know it. We all love it. It's just a great film. I think my favourite bit is where the 3 guys are in the boat and they're getting drunk and comparing scars and having a sing-song. Just great character building. Just love that scene. The 4K, if you haven't got it on 4K, I highly recommend it as well because it looks really nice. I've recently picked up Jaws 2 on 4K, which I've heard that looks equally as good, and I think that's going to be our movie viewing for this evening, so that's something to look forward to. Next up, when I picked this one up again 2 or 3 weeks ago. I showed it that I picked it and I hadn't seen it, and I got a little bit of lambastation. Is that a word? Lambastation? Lambasted in the comments that I haven't seen it. So I thought I'd have to rectify that. And guys, yeah, you're right to tell me off for not watching this one, because again, another great film, The Ladykillers. Directed by Alexander McKendrick. It's a 50s film, 55, I think. Great cast, great cast. Alec Guinness is brilliant. Cecil Parker, Herbert Lom. I like Herbert Lom, and he was good in this. He was sort of like the straight guy villain in it. Peter Sellers, Danny Green, Jack Warner, Frankie Howard turns up as a cameo part, and Katie Johnson as the old lady, who's really wonderful in it. This is all about these guys. They're a band of bank robbers, and they're posing as a quintet orchestra and hire a room in this little old lady's house so that they can plan their latest bank robbery in there. And she's always disrupting their planning with cups of teas and stuff like that, as little old ladies do. And every time she knocks on the door, they have to... Every time she's not in the room, they've got this record on of a orchestra, so that she thinks that they are a real orchestra. When she knocks on the door with the cups of tea, they have to quickly go and grab their instruments. So they do their bank robbery, and all things start to go wrong, and this little old lady's in the centre of it mostly. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's really good, really funny film. And yeah, guys, I should have seen it a long time ago, but now I have, so you can get off me back a little bit. No, not really. I don't care. Yeah, great Ealing comedy films. One of the better ones. Brilliant. Next up, now this is the joys of CX for me. I was in my local CX a long time ago now, maybe getting on for a couple of years, and I saw this title. I'd never heard of it. Saw Sam Neill was in it. It's about £6, so I thought, I'll pick it up and give it a go at some point. And in the week that Some Point came along, directed by Roger Donaldson. This is a New Zealand film from 1977, if I remember correctly. This is about New Zealand's in the middle of civil unrest. There's loads of strikes and the country's grinding to a halt. So the Prime Minister, who is a piece of work, he grants special powers to the army that they can basically do what they want to disperse the strikes and this civil uprising that's going on. And they do it with brutal force, shooting and killing anybody who riots. Sam Neill is recently split up with his wife because his best friend has cheated. His wife cheated on him with his best friend. So he moves out to this island. On this island, he is inadvertently holding guns and an arsenal for the people behind the uprising, and the police find out, and though he's totally innocent of the charges and he's got no interest in the uprising, he just wants to go and live a quiet life, he gets drawn into it and then has to work alongside his best mate and his ex-wife to try and basically stay alive because the authorities are after him and trying to kill him. And again, really good film, a really underrated film. Like I said, I'd never heard of it, but a good thriller. I really enjoyed it. There's some good action scenes in it, with the helicopters and airplanes chasing him. There's a good car chase in it. At one point, though, I noticed he front-ended his car into some bollards or something, and you see all the front of his car caved in. The next scene he's driving away and there's not a scratch on it. They got that one a bit wrong. There's a cameo part from Warren Oates, who is brilliant as one of the officers in the army. He's quite a brutal guy. Yeah, that was a good fun part. But yeah, good fun action film. I recommend that one. Sleeping Dogs. Yeah, give that a watch. Next up, and this one wasn't so good, I'm afraid. Christopher Plummer, John Travolta, what's his name? The kid I can never remember. Ty Sheridan, The Forger. This is about Travolta he's in prison. He's a career crook, a forge artist, coming from a family of crooks. Christopher Plummer is his dad, and he's a villain as well. And his son's not very well, so he arranges with a local villain to bribe a magistrate to let him have parole early. But then he's in the pocket of this villain, and he has to forge this painting and then swap it in a gallery and do a heist, which sounds like it's going to be really good, really exciting, but in practice it was pretty dull. It's about 1 hour 40 minutes, and yeah, it was a bit of a slog, I'm afraid. Not one that's going to stay in the collection, I don't think. It's not worth anything, so this will probably end up down the Cancer Research or the Art Foundation or something. Yeah, that's The Forger. Definitely the worst film of the week, and probably one of the worst films I've seen for a little while. Next up, I did, if you saw in the week, I made my top 10 science fiction films, and it's doing really well. It's, at time of recording this, it's 900 odd, getting on towards 1,000 views, which to a lot of views probably a drop in the ocean, but to me that's some quite big numbers, so I'm really pleased about that. And I featured this in my list, and after watching that Edge of Tomorrow, not Live, Die, Repeat, I thought I have to give this a watch again. And brilliant fun science fiction film with Tom Cruise living this day over and over again to try and defeat these aliens who have got sort of like time travelling powers, which has accidentally got transferred into Tom Cruise, and he has to work with Emily Blunt to try and destroy them. And it's just like a video game, you know, where you have to get play and then you get killed and you get put back at the start of the level. And because he's lived the day over and over again, when he gets to meet Blunt every day, she doesn't remember him, but to him he's like, he's known her for ages and he's falling for her. The look on her face is like, what are you doing, you creep? It's really, well, that's one of my favourite bits. Yeah, really good. Edge of Tomorrow. I'm sure you've all seen it, but if not, I highly recommend it. Yeah, great stuff. Next up was a rewatch, and my favourite director, and just rewatching this again, like, just reaffirms why he's my favourite director. Billy Wilder's 50s classic, Ace in the Hole, from 1951. I say classic, I think it may be a bit underrated because I don't think that many people have seen it, which is a crime because it's a fantastic film. A 5-star for me on Letterboxd. I don't give many 5 stars, but this I do. This is starring Kirk Douglas, and he is a newspaper reporter, and everywhere he's work, because of his style of reporting, he gets fired or the newspaper gets in trouble through complaints. So he's come out into Albuquerque, New Mexico, and got this job in this little newspaper, this dead-end job, where he hopes he can rebuild his career by getting one big scoop. And then one day he's out driving about and goes to this petrol station, which is next to these caves where these Indians were buried years and years ago, and discovers that there's a guy trapped in the cave. So in the pretense of helping this guy, Douglas basically engineers the situation so that the guy is trapped down there longer than he should be, and turns the thing into a circus where he's getting all the credit for it as this ace reporter and putting on this persona who's helping this guy, but he's just after himself. And this place where these caves are turns into thousands of people's camping out there, and carnivals there, and hot dog sellers and all that. And Douglas is taking all the credit for it. He's even getting into sort of a relationship with the guy who's trapped his wife, and he's a horrible character. He's a really two-faced guy, and it's like sticking 2 fingers up at the newspaper industry of the time. Wilder is with this, but incredible film. I really recommend that. Easily the film of the week, and the film of quite a few weeks. Brilliant film, top tier Billy Wilder. It's been my top 3 Wilders, I think. Ace in the hole. Fantastic. And I finished up the week with Town on Trial. Now, the recent indicator sale, I was going through it trying to figure out what to buy. I only bought 3, I didn't go mad. Then I remembered this one because Neil from Neil's Movie Channel, he was talking about this, and it's directed by John Guillemin, who Neil is a big fan of. And to be honest, I've had a lot of good recommendations from Neil. You like your obscure stuff, Neil's your guy. He's got such a great knowledge about obscure films. Again, I'll put his details down below. Neil, if you don't follow him, he's well worth a sub. You'll get out of him films you never heard of and films you love. And this was no exception. Yeah, this was really good. This is an English film starring John Mills, Charles Coburn, who's always good in everything. I do like Charles Coburn, and Barbara Bates. This is about this girl on the cover here. She never heard of her before, and I don't think she'd been in a whole lot. She reminded me sort of like a young Diana Dawes, Jane Mansfield type girl. Yeah, really good looking girl. And she was invited into this exclusive tennis come spa type place because it's all set in this town that's everybody's upper class and yeah, really not very nice people. And this woman there who's in the club, all the guys are giving her the attention, and all the girls, all the ladies hate her because the husbands are giving all the attention, and she ends up getting murdered on the grounds of the club. And John Mills, he plays this detective, and he's brilliant in it. He's trying to solve the crime. He takes no prisoners with these guys in this town. They're like, because they try and band together these people in the town. They're upper class. They think they're above the law. But Mills, he's not having any of it. And a really wonderful performance as him as the detective. And he starts to unravel the case. And it's a fantastic whodunit that keeps you changing your mind because there's quite a few suspects. And you think you've worked it out, but then you think, oh, no, hang on, I don't think it is that. And another thing I like on a personal level that I quite liked on this, when he went to the murdered girl's flat and was looking through her stuff, he found this book that had been given to her by one of the suspects and had his name inscribed in it. And it was a book by Rupert Brooke, which probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people. But to me, he was from my hometown, Rupert Brooke. And there's a statue in him in our local Wetherspoons is named after Rupert Brooke. He was a poet, a war poet, who was tragically killed in World War One. I think his most famous sort of line, it goes along the words of, in this foreign soil, there is a part that will remain forever England for the people who were buried out there who were killed in World War One. But yeah, really, really good whodunit, really exciting. It zipped along so well paced. Never get bored for a minute. And the end scene, absolutely spectacular action scene. The end scene, I was gripped. I was on the edge of my seat. Yeah, thanks Neil for talking about that before, because really good. I said like this was the film of the week, but that's quite close second, along with My Name Is Nobody and The Ladykillers and Sleeping Dogs. Actually, a brilliant week. Apart from The Forger, all great stuff. Well, that's it for another week, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Give me the old thumbs up if you've liked what I've done here today. Maybe thinking about subscribing if you want to hear more of this rubbish. And I'll catch you all in the week. I'll think of something to do in the week. Ta-ra.